Hello. Oh. Hello. Welcome to the special moments of the Stevie D show. I'm Stevie D. Thank you for coming to my shows. All the peoples, the ladies and the gentlemen in the TV land, I welcome you. I am the Stevie D of the Stevie D show. Many people say, they stop me and they say, Stevie D, you look different. That's because I have the twin brothers. But my twin brothers, he is not very smart. He is not very beautiful like me. I have my mother's tongue. My mother, she gave me the tongue, but not my brother. This is why I speak of the language A, but he does not. So I am more smart than my mother. No, than my twin brothers. He is a stupid man. He had to leave the countries because of the scandals of the non-profits for the preventative dentistry. And he also had the much money that he spent on the ugly women. So I am not so stupid like him. I am the very smart man. So this is what I want to say. And I'm also very beautiful and much more fashion than my brothers, because people say you look like the Ringo Starr. And I say, of course, I have the ring of the Ringo. Oh, my ring is not. Did you steal my rings? My ring's not here, but I'm still the beautiful and the smart and the talent like the Ringo Starr, because everyone says you are like the Ringo Starr. Of course, I am the Ringo Starr. Similar. But before I introduce my guests to you, I'd like to tell you a few things about me, besides being more beautiful and besides my mother having my tongue, and besides my stupid brother. I am now the Stevie D 1. He is the stupid Stevie D 2, so we do not talk about him. But this is the pubic show today for the pubic news. So this is the news show for all of the peoples of the world to find out what is the pubic all going to happen for people. This is very important. And also I want to say that, one moment please. I want to say that I will now introduce my guests. First, I will introduce my guests, very good friend, guestus 1.
Thermio Napoli.
Please, you must speak to my good ear. I have the AIDS, but it is not here.
Thermio Napoli.
Yes, this man this is my first guest. So please tell to the world 22, 23 millions of people today. They are watching us and they say, who is this interesting man here?
Well, see, that's where you're first wrong, Mr. D.
That's a Stevie D 1, please.
Stevie D 1, yes. I
Yes.
did see the sequel, so you're right. I'm really not that interesting, and really have nothing much to say, and I'm quite vacuous, and just have nothing to contribute.
Do I have this in my notes here about this stupid thing? No. Okay. So you have nothing to say for yourself about... What if you were in, say, the jail and the policemen come to the jail and they say, please speak to be released? What would you say?
I'm the kind of guy that always says the wrong thing, so my inclination would be to say, I'm responsible for several murders. And say, oh, I shouldn't have said that. But, you know, I'm always saying something like that, you know. So, does that answer your question?
No, you are not so interesting man, but that's okay. We will come back to you in a few moments, time, space.
Although I do have every episode of Charles in Charge on Betamax.
Do you look famous? Do you play the respectfulness to me?
I don't know what that means, but yes, if there's no follow-up question.
Yes, I will come back to you on another moment's time. You are not so interesting, man, but
Oh,
that's
take
okay.
your time. Take your time.
Yes, very nice. Hello. So I like now to introduce my second guestess on the show. And I do not know you very intimate, but that is okay. What is your name?
My name's Danny.
Danny.
Espinoza.
Please speak. I have the AIDS and I left it at home.
Esperanza.
Yes.
My name's Danny Esperanza.
Okay. This
Esperanza
is.
means hope.
Ah.
That's Spanish.
Ah. I speak of the Spanish very much good.
I don't.
Oh.
That's all I know. Because I'm a violent man.
You're the violence man?
Yes.
Why are you the violence man?
I did many things, Mr. D.
I'm the Stevie D one, please.
Mr. One.
Yes.
I did
So
many things.
you did many things, violence?
A lot.
Give us a little small amount of the violence that you can do
Well,
in your lives.
I'm not violent anymore.
It's
I'm a
over.
changed man.
It's no more violence.
No,
Oh.
I don't violate. Because I look at my anger.
Yes.
Do you look at yours?
At what?
Your anger.
Oh, I thought you meant something else. I do not look at mine, no. Only in the showers. But this is a much interesting man here, and I will come back and we will be speaking for you much soon again.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
About this violence.
Yeah.
It's a very important thing, this violence.
Very.
Yeah.
The most.
Yes.
The most important.
It's
Yes.
important to be violent.
No. No, you cannot be violent.
Let me introduce my guestess number 3 to the worlds, to the peoples of the world. This is my guestess number 3.
Joe.
Speak to my good. I have the AIDS, but it's not here, please. No,
Joe. Jojo.
Joe.
Jojo.
Jojo.
Walensky.
Jojo Walensky. Yes,
Yes,
actually.
Jojo Walensky. Yes, yes. My name is Jojo Walensky, and I know what you're thinking. Who is this regular, ordinary, binary, gender neutered, non-specific rodeo clown of a person parole officer doing here? Boring, I know. Regular, ordinary, but I'm here with you to give you the tools to maneuver your way back into society. Yes.
Sit, please. Yes, Mr. Jojo, this was of much interest here. Do you have one specifics you can tell these 24 millions peoples here, 24 millions, about your vocational interpretation?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because people have this mindset. I would if I could, but I won't, so I don't. These shackles, you gotta break yourself away from these shackles. After all, the 13th Amendment freed us. It freed us to be our true selves, to become our own YouTube sensations. That's what I'm here for you, as a parole officer, to give you the tools, the proper programs to get yourself on the right track.
This is very good, and I like this because we have the violence man here who was the escaped from the prisons. But before we talk to these interesting gentlemen here, I would like to come back, not like to, but I should for one moment's times, to speak with this man.
Thermio Napity.
That's this man's name. I do not hear because I have the AIDS, and it's not here. So, Mr. Please,
Thermio Napity.
do you have something interest to tell people now? Before was not interest at all, but I want you to explain, please.
I do, and thank you, Mr. D1.
This is respectfulness here.
I believe in respect. So yes, when you ask me about something interesting, now I made egg salad today, and today's usually chicken salad day. True story. True story. So I didn't have the paprika, So I
Okay,
said,
this is not interest anymore.
Oh,
I ask you the question.
Egg without paprika?
I mean,
Come on.
yeah, thank you. Mic
The
drop.
paprikas is good for this resume.
It's essential. It's in life, as in life, spices in your life keep you going.
So
to
true.
Be
So true.
Clear thoughts, move forward, end of story.
I want this man making my sandwiches from now on.
This,
Crust,
please,
no
not
crust.
2 points these at me, because this means you are not respectfulness. I have questions for you, and then I will talk to him because he has much more interest than you.
He
But
is.
how do you feeling for the orange hair man, who is at the presidential White Palace for us here today? The beautiful he's very sexy with the orange hair.
I only wish I had his hair.
He has the orange hair in the nose too.
That I don't know about. I'm going to
I
go with
saw-
you on this one, although I don't know why you
Yes.
would know that. But
We're-
hey, that's your thing. I'm not into that.
That was the intimate.
Yeah. So in answer to your question, yes.
Yeah, this is okay. Do you think him the sexy man's? Do you think me the sexy man's?
Just your left half. The right half, yeah, kind of gross.
This is, I could not hear you so much because I have the AIDS, but we will go now to Mr. You have the prisons,
Yeah.
right? I like this.
Danny.
Danny
Dan-
Esperanza.
Danny.
Now, Mr. One,
It's a Stevie D one, please.
Mr. One, let me tell you, I teach a class, and I'm making a lot of observations about you three gentlemen before me. You all seem like
Gentlemen's
very-
is a very loose. I am the very loose for the gentleman. But please,
Very
continue.
loose. You all
Yes.
look like very violent men to me.
Violence. I like this.
Violence.
Yes, this is very of interest.
Listen. I go to these classes. I get paid $23 an hour. 23. You know how much that is in San Francisco? I live under a bus stop. But let me tell you, I could be making $35 an hour being a plumber. But I'm not, because I'm a violent man. And I need to make sure that you guys, especially you, Mr. One, you can't be violent anymore.
Well, the violence is something very
This is
special.
my parole officer, in case you didn't know, everyone.
He is the parole's officer.
He's my parole officer.
for you.
Me.
This is very interesting.
So when I say violence, I know violence. He knows that I know violence. You see,
He is
I
the
used to be a
man.
pimp, Stevie. I'm sorry, Mr. One.
What is this pimp? Is this like on the face
No.
that you squeeze to get the?
No, but I
have
squeeze
this.
other things, I can tell you that.
Very, very interesting. So this this thing that's not from the face, what does this do?
I used to buy and sell people, Mr. One.
Very lucratives.
Very. I made so much more money in 1 week doing what I did before. But now I get paid $23 an hour to work with violent men. And I do this because I think they have a chance.
For this violence men's, do you beat them?
No, we don't beat violent men.
But this is
That
normal.
makes them more violent, Mr. One.
In my countries, you beat the men. It's good. They like it.
You know, that tells me a lot about your character, Mr. One.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. That wasn't a compliment.
Well,
I'm not
for
here to play
the
games.
if you do not beat these men,
No.
what do you do to them?
We talk, Steve. Mr. One, we talk.
Do you laugh at them when they say they're being intimate?
No.
Do they
We
undress
choose to
their
intimate.
fears?
We choose to intimate. Because if we don't intimate, we violate.
Yes. It's very nice how you say this word too.
Thank you.
It's with a lot of passions and a lot of how do you say in another language? It's very.
I don't know. I don't
Yes.
speak Spanish. Because let me tell you something. The only thing I know about Spanish is my last name is Esperanza. And that means hope. Because if there's hope for me, there's hope for you. I'm Danny Esperanza.
Thank you very much, Mr. Esperanza Violence Man. It's very interesting now. I'm going to speak to your paroles man officers here. Joe.
Joe.
Joe. Are you of
Just Joe.
just Joe? You are saying that you do the paroles. In the paroles, when the person comes to you for the assistance, but they're the bad persons, do you beat them?
What I do is I do beat them.
See?
I beat them with knowledge. I beat them with the spirit of doing the right thing right now, because I have 3 rules that I go by. Don't bully. Don't be bullied. Think positively. And don't eat kale. It's disgusting stuff. It tastes like dirt.
This is very interesting for the resume because my 4th wife, she likes this. To
be beaten with knowledge.
Well, she's a stupid, so I tell her, don't
There's
be
hope
so
for her.
stupid. Have the resume that you find on the television. They have the shows that you can find the foods.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So I'd like to ask some questions for my guests now. You, Mr.
Thermionapity.
Please to speak. I have the AIDS and it's not here. It's
Yes.
in my home and I cannot hear.
All right. So what's your question?
My question is, do you like to be sexy with your dogs at home?
I don't have dogs at home, unfortunately.
That's enough, please.
keep
My
mine
other
at the
question, we don't need this anymore. How would you feel to be the cockroach in the life? If you were the little bitty cockroaches running around from the people stomping on you, is there sort of psychological manipulations for your minds, for your brains? Do you have the brains?
Not really. In fact, I do believe cockroaches are a higher form of life, if that answers your question.
I do not hear because of the AIDS, but it's okay. You don't say anything of interest. You are
Perhaps if I
kind of the-
if I rub my elbow, well, am I coming through a little more clear? Does that help?
I
Does
had
that help?
the uncles
Okay.
before and after the World Wars Wars. He came back and he had the hand on the elbow like this from the foreign country. He kept doing this. And I don't know if this was from some war in the trenches or how he explanations to me, but maybe this is something of the psychological about the cockroaches, you know.
So what you're saying is that you believe in cockroaches, but not their elbows?
Well, yes, and this
piecing it
will lead
together.
us to the second questions for you, Mr.
Thermionapity.
Yes, for his.
Yes, sir.
Would you prefer to be frozen in the time or eaten by the large buffaloes?
I think buffaloes are vegetarian, so therefore I believe I should be frozen.
Very good answers for you,
Thank you.
for the stupid, not interesting man.
Guilty as charged.
Mr. Esperanza, the hope man and the violence man, I want to start with the questions for you, please. The same questions. How would you feel if you were the little cockroaches of the life and someone came to you and they spit on you and they did the violence on you? What? Since you are the violence man.
Look, Mr. One, I don't like to talk politics over here. I like to focus on the violence of the men I work with. Now I need to ask you a question. Is that okay?
For to me.
Yeah.
Yes, of course, because I am the movie stars
Good,
and the Ringo
good,
star
good.
and the.
So I need to ask you something real quick.
Yes, please.
Do you
ask.
think you're a violent man?
Well, when I was the little boy, I did kill the mouse. My mother said, kill that mouse. And I had the tongue, so I killed the mouse. And yes, I felt very good because he was eating my food.
So you are violent? Man, I need you to say it with me. I am a violent man.
I am the violence man.
There you go, bro. There you go. That's the first step, guys.
See?
See, Mr. One knows what he's talking about now.
I'm the smartest man of the world. This is why they call
I don't
me
know
this.
about that, Mr. One. I don't know what you're saying half the time. But what I do know, you just said you're a violent man.
Yes.
And that's all that it needs. Isn't that right, Mr. JJ?
That's right, man.
See, Mr. JJ over here, he put me on this path. The path to non-violence.
This man's here.
This man.
This is much interesting to me.
Very.
You know, I have to ask you the question too, since violence is kind of like the sexiness. And would you
Can be.
prefer to be the frozen man of the time or to be eaten by the largest buffaloes?
Well, that sounds a little dangerous.
But you are the danger.
You know, as a violent man who can't control my violence, I like to stay away from those situations. So I don't have an answer to your question, Mr. One, because I put myself in an advantage when I don't answer these questions.
That's a very good answers for the world to know. You know, there's a 27 million people here today that are watching this. So maybe some violent men who step on the cockroaches, they might learn some interesting for psychiatrists helpfulness.
And that's exactly why I'm here, Mr. One.
The Stevie D one, please.
Mr. One, why I'm here is to tell these people, these wonderful people, that it's okay, that you don't have to be violent.
Some
all I gotta
men,
say.
they like the violence, and maybe it's good because of the wars you need this.
No.
But we will go now to the Joe. Joe, how would you like to be the cockroach in life? How does it make you feel? Would your mothers approve?
Mothers approve of cockroaches, be they non-binary, non, half-baked, half-thawed, nose ring, dyed-haired. It is a matter of principle that hold yourself up
This
to
is-
your true self.
I did.
Cockroach. Power.
Yes. If you were to be the frozen in time and eaten by the wild buffaloes, would this change your opinions of the cockroaches?
The buffaloes are frozen?
The buffaloes could be frozens too. It's you have the
Well,
choices
they're low in fat, so actually it's
in the
good.
supermarkets. The
They're
frozen.
lean. That's a lean meat.
Yes, very much, very much. Please to speak louder for the guests because I don't have the aids here.
It's a lean meat.
This is something not for the children to talk like this because this is the family pubic show. But I will let you make this comment one time. So I have the other questions here. This is. Oh wait, I needed this one. Oh, too bad. Let me ask you this, Mr. Uninterest guy.
Thermionapity.
I do not hear him, but it's okay. What is your greatest smartness for the life?
Mr. One, that's an excellent question. You know, when I think about it, I reflect back on the summers we spent at my grandfather's lake.
Yes, that is enough of the question for you. Your answer is not very interest of me.
Guilty as charged.
How would
I
you
told
say to the peoples who are trying to make their succeed in their professionalism of life? What kind of advices would you give to them?
That's an excellent question. The advice I would give is don't try hard, do things half-assed, drag your feet, and throw other people under the bus.
That's enough. Thank you very much. He's a stupid man.
He
Yes.
lives in a bus station.
No, so you're halfway there.
That I am.
So, Mr. Esperanzo,
Bronzer.
please.
Bronzer. It means hope.
Yes, I ate the tacos earlier. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
But if your greatest smartness in life, how would you help peoples to say if their professionalism goals?
I don't know much about being a professional, Mr. One.
Please,
'Cause I'm
Stevie D.
I'm a professional, violent man. That's what I've been doing my whole life since I was this big. I can't tell you nothing about no professionalism. But what I can tell you, Mr. One, is that you're on the right track. You're on the right track.
What is this right track?
It's how you're not going to be making 23 an hour like me.
Well, at this show, I make about $12.46.
That's something to be proud of because you earned it.
Yes, of course. It's four course. So, in these classes,
Yes.
what do you tell these men?
I tell
So-
these men how to stop their violence. How have you not been listening to me?
I,
This whole
I have
time?
the AIDS and it's at home.
Do you not see how loud I'm speaking?
He could be trapped in his masculinity.
You know what? I think that's what it is, JJ. Mr. One, he was trapped.
I thought he's a Joe.
Jojo JJ jabbing.
What?
Can I call you Jay or Jay Johnson or Ray J or
And I'm
JJJ?
sorry I haven't.
This is very sad now. I'm crying.
I am too. This is
So,
great.
Mr. Esperanza,
Yes.
this family.
Bronzer.
Yes. You are somehow the violence man, the sexy man.
Yes, yes, and yes.
I want to ask you some very personal questions just for you because let me find my notes because I am also, as I said, I'm half the Aboriginian, half the Bolivian, half the Moldavia, half the Mongoloid, half from the Greenland. I'm half the Polynesia, the big Polynesia, and half the Germanics, as well as the half trans sexy mankind. So because of these things, I am very smart and I am very knowledgeable to understand what you're trying to say. This is my notes, please, by the way, for you. You say you were in the prisons, and you are no longer in the prisons.
I'm not.
What did you do in the prisons?
I learned how to be aware of my violence.
You
I
were the
sat down and thought, and I thunked.
Yes, that is of interest. Does your mother awareness of your process or regression?
There's no regression. I'm always going to be violent. But what I do with that now, and I sit down and I think about it and I reflect on it.
This is much of interest. Now, I see you have addressed this way, and I'd like to know, is this for your violence?
This is how I like to dress, Mr. One.
Oh, I thought you said you were wearing a dress. Oh my God, I was getting confused there.
This is how I
Sorry
dress, Mr.
You
One.
must have the AIDS.
Yeah, not yet. I'm not at that age yet to get AIDS.
Oh, okay. Well, do you love this man's like your own children's, Mr. Hope?
Huh?
This man's that you talk to about
Yeah.
the violence,
They-
but they like your children's. Your
You know. Let me tell you something, Mr. One. I work. I don't work for those men. I work for the county, but this is what we do. And yes, in shortness, if there's hope for me, there's hope for you.
This is a fascination. I think we are close to being no longer of the time. I want to thank everyone of the world who came to hear us, 31 million peoples in the world. This was very important for you to hear my guest is. My guest is,
Thermio Navity.
yes, and the Esperanzos
Danny Esperanza.
and the Joe.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I am a Stevie D. Thank you very much for coming to my special moments with the Stevie D show. We are out now. Goodbye.